Good morning. Welcome to Community Voice. He never disappoints, Clark. He never disappoints, man. That's why he's my guy. He just never. Good morning, Clark Kent. What's happening, man? Hey, man, dude. Oh, and TT, how you doing this morning? 10 toes up, 10 toes down. What up? What? Oh, man, I didn't know we was in uniform today. I didn't know we was in uniform.
Right here. Black and yellow, black and yellow, black and yellow.
You can get this at the WNOV merchandise, showing what we got. What's our special
hat, the shoes,
man, and shirt looking good, man.
Show them your shoes, boss. I mean, what are those? Your shoes, man.
Air Max.
Yeah, that's what I thought. Show them to them.
Oh, they gold too. Look, you coordinated.
Come on, man. Shoe cam, man.
Shoe cam.
Doing all that,
show your shoe, man. Your shoes is dope.
You know what's happening with the shoe game around here, right?
What?
You know the deal, right?
Yeah, man. Your shoes
like
is dope,
like the shoe game. We always start with the shoe game.
You know, I'm not one of those people who don't give away what I actually
on,
got.
man.
Some of y'all, you know,
this
he's so
mysterious.
Me what it is.
He's so mysterious.
You ask me what it is, I tell you. You know, some people be like, "Oh, you know, I got it from a place. It was a gift. It was a gift. It was a gift."
Come on, man. Show your shoes, man.
How you gonna do it?
I just can't believe you just coordinated.
That look crazy, man.
Hold on. Man, they dope. Look at them. Gold Air Maxes over there. You got, hey, no. Hey, hold on, man. Hold on. You get the hand clap.
Y'all are
Good morning, DJ.
Good morning.
Shoe game is on point today, boy. Man, what the dude said, man.
I've worn these plenty times.
I ain't saw. I never saw you wear those.
This ain't new.
Those
I need
dope,
to get
though.
some new shoes.
Those dope.
I'm trying to figure out, man. I was looking at these patent leather Air Force Ones.
Oh,
Yeah.
They got some patent leather Air Forces.
yes, sir.
Man.
Yeah, they got everything.
Oh, let me shout out Jackie Rice. Today is her birthday.
Sure is.
So shout out Jackie
Miss
Rice.
I always give her the blues when she don't be listening.
Is that right? Oh, to the program?
No.
To you?
Listening, period. Yeah. You know, when I speak, you know, shit up.
Pay me some money.
No, so yesterday, same thing that's going on. All right, we put it on the agenda.
Yeah, I sent you some background.
Conspiracy
Check
with a
your
Q.
email. Check your email.
Check
your email.
Am I done?
Oh my bad. Let me.
Yeah. Man. So she was saying that she couldn't leave out the house because it was just too strong. And I said, well, you know what will help if you put on a mask.
Mm-hmm.
Oh, I'm not putting on no mask. I said, see, you hard-headed, and that's your problem. So I always get on her about being hard-headed, and she knows she hard-headed, so it ain't like I'm saying something new. But
well,
happy birthday, Miss Rice.
Happy birthday, man. Now, this is somebody, man, I've known over 40 years. Wow. Yeah, so happy birthday.
Mm-hmm.
And I gotta send it to her. I know she's not listening.
She know Will Martin too.
Yeah, we all work together.
Oh, for real?
Yeah.
I didn't know that.
Yeah, back in the day. Yeah. But let me shout out, and I know Janice Robinson Moreland, I'll have to text her. Just so all the folks, Pastor Russell Yancey Sr., shout my guy out. Yeah, happy birthday. I know it's a lady, but happy birthday. So good morning. Clark, did you get that? So I do my cleanup? No, not yet.
I got the name, the title, but I ain't got the picture yet.
The dude from the other room. Yeah, man, I got it.
I'm gonna have to do my research on what you just sent me, man.
Okay. Anyway,
Yeah.
Let me do my cleanup on aisle 6. Yesterday we were having conversations, and I got one more I need to do too. But I was trying to think of the jelly bean company down in Racine is Jelly Belly, and Jelly Belly does sodas. My guy,
Really?
you do. If you like a sweet soda, I was sugar. Yeah. I also found out Jolly Good does have a ginger ale. They do have a ginger ale. And the other one was a zebra yesterday. It was said that they were using their text messaging. You know how you can do your voice to go in. And so he put in knee-high, K-E-K-N-E-E. But knee-high, N-I-H-I. And I found a nice picture of a knee-high peach. So just to clean up on that was a great conversation about those sodas. I really need to go in though and see if I can find one of those cans. Clark had pointed out Jolly Good used to have riddles at the bottom of the can. So I need to go and see if they have some image out there that where you could go in and
like the Laffy Taffies.
Yeah.
No, the Laffy Taffies got jokes, but same thing. Riddle,
yeah.
Joke.
And what was it? What was the bubble gum that had the cartoon? There was a bubble gum that yeah, so you got to remember the bubble gum with the cartoons in it. We was talking about the rip off of Cracker Jacks. You know, didn't Captain Crunch used to do toys?
Captain Crunch.
Yeah.
One of them cereals did because you'll pour it in your bowl and then it'll fall in your bowl.
Now, Captain Crack. Captain Sugar Crack.
Pretty much, when I eat a whole box of them.
Oh man,
my favorite was Lucky Charms.
Yeah,
Captain Crunch. I like the berry crunch.
And I like the original.
But
oh man,
but you know it tasted better when you just let the milk set into it just a little longer instead of getting it right away.
Okay, thank you, Doc. It was Bazooka bubblegum. Thank you, sir. Thank you.
It's like after you chew it like 5 times and it went stale. I hated that gum, man. Like you be on the court trying to play ball with the bazooka gum.
I used to chew gum when I was younger when I played ball because I saw Ray Allen used to do it. And Ray Allen was God to me, you know, when I was younger.
God, that's Jesus Shuttlesworth.
Right. It's a reason why he was God to me. And that was even before I saw the movie.
But I think that a lot of that was just his nervous energy.
Maybe, but I just chewed the
Ray
gum
Allen.
because of Ray Allen. And then after a while, you know, it will fall out my mouth and all. I'm like, I'm done with this. He chewed gum? Yeah, he sure did. And he probably and Ray Allen probably did it because of Jordan. Yeah.
Okay, Captain Crunch cereal prizes were iconic marketing premiums hidden inside or offered through mail-ins by Quaker Oats.
Yeah.
From the 1960s to the 1990s.
Yeah.
Mine were tricks.
Huh?
Tricks for kids.
Tricks are for kids.
Yeah.
No.
Tricks, honeycomb.
Wait, do y'all remember they had Honey Smacks, right?
Mhm.
But then when you went to like the other stores, instead of Honey Smacks, it was like the Honey Bunches.
Oh yeah.
with the big bear on the bag.
No, when you get those big bags of what was that? The Puff?
Yeah.
Yeah, it wasn't Rice Krispies, just big bags of Puff.
Somebody said, thanks for calling me out, Keith.
Yeah, no, I just he be wearing me. Whoever Zebra wears me out. So man, when I'm sitting up and I'm thinking about, but Captain Crunch, whoever came up with that crack idea,
Man, I love them.
oh my God. Okay, let me do this. Phone lines open.
Yeah, it was a little sugary.
Man, a whole lot of
A
sugar.
little sugary.
Hey man, I'll be in school going crazy.
And then the cool thing about Captain Crunch was it was Captain Crunch and Frosted Flakes, where then you drink the milk because all the sugar that settled in
was
the
in the
milk.
bottle.
Yeah, man.
I just think something was wrong with y'all. Sugar don't make me do nothing.
It didn't make me do anything
Yeah.
Nah, man, it made
other than rot out your teeth.
Something wrong with you right out.
no.
But we've
it's
been
like a-
knew
like-
that though. So
yeah,
it's just
it
we
is.
just confirming it. You
It
know,
just-
you just
it
letting
just-
us know
it
about
just
your
adds to it.
past.
So let me ask this question: what cereal could you eat without milk? Name a cereal Phone lines open that you could eat without meat. About meat. Without milk.
I ain't eating no cereal with meat. So
Frosted Flakes.
Captain Crunch.
It depends on
Tricks.
Raisin Bran.
Ugh.
Raisin Bran without milk.
Yeah.
Now I can kind of see it. You know, I can kind of see
I
it.
could do Raisin Bran. Raisin Bran. I used to love Raisin Bran.
Man, Tricks.
Before I was introduced to Lucky Charms, it was Raisin Bran for me.
What was that other cereal? It wasn't Raisin Bran, but it was kind of in that field with the oats and all that other stuff.
Cheerios?
Not Cheerios.
Because Kennedy
Honey bunches of oats.
Kennedy eat Cheerios without milk.
Yeah, now the honey
Honey
yeah,
nuts.
Doc, I could put it in a bag and just eat it plain. Matter of fact, that's what I should have brought to work today. A sandwich bag full of
Rideout
honey
called
nut
me
cereal.
yesterday
Yeah.
Stuff ain't the same no more.
because
It
I
ain't. It don't
see that I work to visit Milwaukee.
Straight up.
Yeah, he had somebody here from Arizona. They wanted a real good bologna sandwich.
Good
And by the
luck.
time Rideout had called me, Perkins was already closed.
Yeah.
But I sent him over to Archie's. Archie's has a great mustard.
You know,
mustard
him and
sugar.
Keon is the ones that enlightened me because I still haven't had a bologna. I see whenever me,
Yeah.
the Oscar Mayer Wiener bologna
Oh,
was so
Okay.
I'm like, and they was over here salivating a few years ago.
yeah.
Oh man, I need me a bologna. And I'm
Dude.
looking at them like
Dude.
two grown ass man.
Bologna
sandwich?
Man.
Yeah, you fry
but-
that thing right?
But then they described like, no, this is a different bologna.
Yeah,
and
it's
I was
thick.
like, oh, so
Yeah.
I never had that. I never had that bologna, but
Yeah, they actually hit me back after they went. And they was like, man, thank you. Like, tell them thank you for that, man. Like, I love Milwaukee. And I'm like, man, because I was driving and they was like, man, I want a good bologna sandwich.
shit, I thought it was my bologna has a first name.
Yeah. Well, it could have been.
It could have been.
Was it Mississippi bologna or just the
No, I was sharing with Rideout that the people that own Archie's also owns the that Wasalis cheese and sausage
Say it slow, Doc.
and and the Beecher meat market. Boom,
Can't
boom.
say that
That's
fast.
That's
No,
BEECHER meat market.
You gotta say that thing slow, Jack.
Because he tried to say it slow and it
I
still
did. I know
sounded
you
like
still
that.
came out.
And I got on it late, so that's how you know it was something.
Well, I'm glad. Okay, I'm glad. Caller, welcome to the program.
Good morning, you're on air.
Good morning. Yeah, I'm coming through now. Good morning, man, Keith.
Hey, what up, T?
Good morning, DJ. Good morning, man.
Good morning.
Rideout. Morning, Clark. Morning, Milwaukee. Couple different things real quick here. I have to get to because we're just coming off the All-Star break there, so we've won the division 3 years in a row. I didn't want to. But you got to have that better record if you want that first round bye, and that's what's been doing them in the last few years since they've been winning the division. That first round bye has been eating them up, man. So you've got to have the.
They had that last year though.
They won the division. They didn't have the best record.
Yes,
No,
they
they did.
no.
No, they did.
Remember, it's two teams that get the first round bye
Yeah,
right.
in
They
football
got
and
it.
baseball.
Yeah. Brewers had it.
Right,
Yeah.
they made it to the National League Championship Series
Because remember,
last
the Cubs played somebody in that
Yeah.
wild card matchup,
Right.
and then we was in the NLDS.
Right.
Well, they've got it messed up because to me, once you win the division, that should be your first round bye. But best record should give you home. Well, I don't know that's different from
It's too
basketball.
many. It's too
They-
many
and they had-
teams to have so many people get a first round bye.
Right.
Because it's about 3 or 4 divisions, so
Well-
3 and 4 teams can't get a first round bye.
No,
Yeah, but
I
there's only
understand
two
that,
teams
but
that
then
get
you've only got two conferences. You got East and West, so
you got the
best
American
record in the
League.
East.
Right, but you
That's-
just
You got the
said
wild card.
right, but you listen, Tyrone. You just said if you win your division,
Right,
you should get a
right.
first round bye.
Absolutely.
It's too many teams for that.
It's too many divisions.
Oh, okay.
And I think the other piece of it was the Brewers, for the first time, did get to the championship series. They
Final
just
four.
Well,
Four.
we made it
No,
once
no,
before.
No.
But I'm just-
With council we
and then we
did.
played the Dodgers. And,
Oh well, yeah,
played the
right,
Dodgers. That was,
yeah.
right.
and they and the Brewers had home field, didn't
Yeah.
they? They couldn't beat the Dodgers.
No.
Nobody
man.
can beat the Dodgers.
right?
Well, the Dodgers, they just too good, man.
Right?
Ohtani
Well, that's
is the greatest baseball
ever,
player
bro.
of all time.
He's getting up there, man.
Now,
there.
I can give you Tony Gwynn or Barry Bonds or Hank Aaron or Pete Rose for the best hitter. But as far as a full round best baseball player, he do it all. Ohtani do.
You haven't seen anything like that since Babe Ruth was with the Red Sox.
He's good.
It ain't no you ain't seen nothing.
No, you have no. I'm just saying, Babe.
You ain't seen Babe Ruth. What you talking about? You ain't seen us. Most of us ain't seen Babe Ruth.
Maybe he did, DJ.
Yeah.
Why do the big money? You know, like you
I saw the statistics.
New York. You know, why do the big money teams? why do the big money teams? And I that's the answer right there. It's big money. But I mean, if you're talking about leveling out the, making things equal, whether it's baseball, NFL, NBA, smaller markets and stuff like that. You gotta let these players. Big money just can't rule everything because you throw a tilt in the sport. Then
Okay.
But this is the first team to go back to back in a very long time, though. So
the Dodgers?
Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
So I mean, we can claim the big money all along, but everybody ain't going back to back that's spending that big money. Look at the Yankees. The Yankees ain't win back to back since the 90s.
But you have to remember the Brewers was handing it to them last year, all year long, all season long.
But when it matters,
the Brewers, I know
when it matters,
the Brewers stuck it to them, man.
We got to roll out, T.
Okay, all right, thank you.
And that's the whole piece, man. What you do in the regular season, that's great. You see teams with the best record in the regular season, but other teams are built for the playoffs. Dodgers are built for the playoffs. And I'm agreeing with Ohtani but like I said, when Babe Ruth was with the Red Sox, not only was he a shutdown pitcher, he was a hitter too. So you haven't really seen anybody like that, and then you get Ohtani because I haven't. All the years I've been watching baseball, I haven't seen anybody that's a pitcher and a hitter, and it used to be before both leagues went to the DH that, okay, the pitching spot, that's it out, right? So every now and then you have some guys out there that could hit, but not like this dude. All right, and Clark had put it up again where we could show you the sodas that we was talking about. Hey, y'all, it's a Free Flow Friday. Joined in studio by Devon Jones, DJ the Protégé, Clark Kent, Twinkle Toes, TT. We're gonna take a quick break. We'll be right back. What day you get your Social Security check on, man?
Hey, I don't know.
Because you old dude, man. It just
old season.
Old dude. We was doing homophones the other day. And that whole thing about what would Granddaddy be telling, like a tale? Granddaddy be lying. It ain't a tale. That's a higher level,
like the government. Yeah.
So this Negro gonna send me with something with a Q.
Yeah, I sent him.
So then I sent him the facts
with a Q.
Then I sent him the facts, and then he just dismissed them like, But what DJ's talking about is that, as you know, we're dealing with the smoke, and a lot of it's coming from Canada and Minnesota right now, in terms of.
I thought you said Michigan.
No, it's over Michigan, but the actual source is in Canada. Okay. And I agree with you. I don't ever remember 10 years ago where we would have smoke, but there's a couple of things that has contributed to why we're seeing the frequencies of the fires. They said they're about the same, but I didn't realize this until the little fact checking, that one of the things is the temperature, climate change. The other thing is how close human beings are getting to these woods, which means that you can have humans that start the fires. And then the other thing, and I remember this, I was talking to when I was talking to Randy yesterday, Randy Bryant, we saw about winter camp. It used to be that in national forests, they just let the fires burn, right? Because a couple of things would happen. They would be fuel, and then it's fertilizer. Right now, because human beings live so close to these fires that they have to put them out, and then putting them out is only increasing the frequency and then the amount of smoke that is happening. So once again, I read this quote that said that no species has had more impact on the planet in the last 40,000 years than human beings.
Right.
And just what we do. So I got you with the conspiracy piece on it.
Hey,
I know.
That's why I said I got to do my own research, because true climate change, but climate change is a forever thing, though. You know, so I can't just say
it's not totally tied to it, but it's a factor, and there's all these factors that tie in.
They've been having wildfires since before all of us was born.
Exactly.
But now within the last 3, well, that's my question.
People weren't living there, or people weren't even around.
All of a sudden, it's this smoke, and they telling us it's because of these wildfires. I'm saying
it is.
I'm saying I got to do my own research, because just because they tell me something don't mean it's the truth, because they told us Christopher Columbus discovered America.
We back to 400 years ago.
No, okay. More recently, they told us Lee Harvey Oswald committed that murder. You know, was the one who pulled that trigger. You know, it's been a lot of lies going on. You know, so just because they tell us something, don't mean that it's the truth or facts. So that's all I'm saying. It's very fishy to me.
Or smoky.
And we could go on a long stuff.
Oh, so they're not picking up garbage.
You know?
Nope. They ain't picked up garbage in 2 days.
Okay, and I appreciate that. Let me shout out my guy.
Man, that's is they gonna do it on the weekend?
LeVar, who was out working yesterday. Ricky Smith. Let me shout these brothers out, hardworking city employees. Boy, it's talking small walkie, because again, my interview yesterday with Randy Bryan, didn't realize he and I were in 6th grade. I'm in the same class, and then we walk out, and LeVar, who I've known before he was, that's Rob's nephew, and
Robert,
Dr. Wells.
Oh,
and hadn't seen him in a while, and see the folks. But let me just shout out. So I understand if the city folks are not out here, it's definitely a help. I know Rhonda said that that they had closed down operations.
Man.
So I didn't realize that was also inclusive of.
Ooh, that's gonna push a lot of families back, unless you just take your own trash to a dumpster or something. You know.
Have you ever been out? That's one of me and Frankie's thing when we go out to the city dump. Caller, welcome to the program.
Good morning, you're on there.
Good morning.
Good morning. Thank you for taking my call.
All right, brother.
Salam alaikum to you, brothers.
Alaikum salam.
Yes, sir. Mr. Parris, when I think I saw you guys on the internet, and I saw that word, homophone, and I was like, oh man, they calling phones gay now. So I was like, I was like, oh my God, really? I was like, so I'm looking at my phone.
The gayness is taking over the phones. The gayness is taking over.
That's the dumbest thing I've ever heard.
Oh no, I was wrong.
That's a living color type of joke right there.
Yeah,
Living color.
I was like, Tony, on the radio talking about gay phone, but I was like, I didn't even know that was a thing. But that's not what it meant.
My phone ain't gay.
Right, that's what I'm saying, right?
Hey man,
right. That's what I was like, what the hell?
I went to T-Mobile and just asked for a regular phone.
Right. If you know somebody don't know, don't have a broad
My question
vocabulary.
is your phone attracted to my phone?
Oh, no. You know they got it where you can put the two phones together and they can take the information from one another. So they probably is a little homo. You know what I mean?
Two homo phones go into a bar.
I don't know, Mr. Good. But this is what I wanted to say what Brother EJ was talking about lies and stuff. I wanted to add to this that the Holy Quran said this world is illusory, meaning that it is based upon and built upon illusions, falsifications, falsehood. The people who run this world have been telling the same lies for 6,500 years. And since no one has had anything to test it, people go along with it. And the only way that people will respect or discard or disregard a particular knowledge is if and when a more superior knowledge comes along and comes about. And that's what the teachings of the Most Honorable Elijah Muhammad represent. because everything that they got, we can crush it with no limit of time. Thank you.
You know what?
No homo.
Let me say that's the whole piece about knowledge and information is that our willingness to accept it. I mean, I could bring in all kind of facts, but if people feel or believe very strongly, no matter what facts you bring, you're not moving them off their square.
Well, you gotta research the sometimes those don't even be facts. A lot of times it's just strongly held beliefs, opinions. But even with facts, you know, you still have to uncover the source, and you have to uncover the context, because you know people say all the time, you know, 90 degrees in one area of the country feels differently than another area of the country. And so, but why is that? So you got to uncover the context to why that is. You know,
I don't know if anybody,
some people say dry heat, some people talk about the moisture. You know, I mean, so whenever you just can't bring forth something and just say, well, this is a fact. You know, the context matters when you bring forth any sort of information.
When no, because I don't know if people realize right now, and I had forgot all about this until Rhonda and I, Rhonda and I and Caitlin, we were down in Miami. Rhonda's mom was retiring from her job, and we were in Miami in July. And the hotel, man, we got real lucky. This place we stayed at, North Miami Beach, was beautiful. And so we noticed that, like, when we first got there, it was like hardly anybody there, because I think we got there like on a Tuesday. But as the weekend came, more and more, we're hearing Portuguese. They're like, wow, because, you know, you can differentiate between Portuguese and Spanish. And what it was south of the equator right now is winter. So if y'all look at, like, when they showed the scenes in Buenos Aires, down in Argentina, people had on coats because it's wintertime below the equator. So they would come up here, you know, like snowbirds. And so so when you notice that even when they did the World Cup that year, it was winter in South Africa. And so you could see, because it would be down in the 40s. You know,
I had a professor that spoke Portuguese. She was very well renowned, you know. She was a big deal.
All right. You're listening to Community Voice Callers. I'm going to grab you right after the break. We got to pay some bills. We'll be right back. All right. Welcome back as we defend our mama's honor. Caller, welcome to the program.
Good morning. You on there?
Good morning.
Good morning to you, gentlemen, man.
What's happening?
You know, one of the riddles that I'll never forget out of a Jolly Good can goes like this: what has 88 keys and don't lock?
What?
What has 88 keys and don't lock?
What has the Bible?
No, that's got 66 books.
A piano?
Don't worry about it. It's a piano, man. I thought Rideout would have caught that one.
Oh, he just stepped out. That's why.
That was in the bottom of a Jolly Good can.
On my program, they run errands, so he's on another errand.
Okay, my man. Hey, listen, my man was calling in talking about I kind of caught the tail end of it about the religious belief. Listen, whatever your mama and them gave you.
Wait, whoa. What are you talking about? What nobody talking about religious beliefs?
Hold on, what did Christopher just call in and say?
No, he was talking about this whole, how the gay agenda has been like put on phones, because we was talking about homophones the other day.
Okay.
And I told him my phone ain't gay.
Okay, I got you. Okay. I'm gonna tell you something. That we're putting together something right now called Straight Rights Matters. Straight Rights.
Oh, you just fell right into that, didn't you? You just fell right into that. But we ain't going down that rabbit hole.
Okay, that's fine. It
was a tongue-in-cheek kind of piece on.
Can I ask you a question? Go ahead. I'm sorry.
It was a tongue-in-cheek, just so we explain, so people will listen, who are listening, who might not have known. On Wednesday, because of a question that Rideout had asked Michelle, and it was warehouse. I think it was something about warehouse werewolf. And so then that's like a homophobe. right? Things that sound alike,
But
spelled differently, but have different meanings. And so Christopher said when he saw it on YouTube where it said homophones, he said, "Oh man!" So he was calling in joking about this whole idea, but that's where the whole homophones came from.
Okay.
Sound
I got
alike.
you.
That's where we get the, like I think it's like a homonym. Sounds alike.
So what is a homophone?
He just told you.
No, I didn't get it.
A phone living its truth. No, it's a homophone is a word or words that sound alike.
Mm-hmm.
They're spelled differently and they have different meanings.
Like red and red.
Yeah. A red book, and I read the book.
What's the meaning, brother? Can you give me the meaning?
I just gave you the meaning.
Come on, Meech. You're not listening.
Man, I must be slow or something because I don't understand. I understand that the word
It's a literary term.
Homo means same.
Wait a minute. Homophone is a literary term. All right.
Okay.
We learned this in English class.
Okay, I got you.
We often have words that sound the same, like bear and bear, but they're spelled differently and often have different meanings.
Although
So what's the difference? So what's the different meanings?
Spelled the same could have different meanings.
So I'm saying, what's the different meaning?
B-E-A-R
and B-A-R-E. That's how you spell bear, like barefoot.
Yeah, but
right, you got barefoot,
like,
then you got bear in the woods.
Right.
Okay, but how
I get that.
Well, what about bear? I bear your burden. Isn't that spelled B-E-A-R?
Okay, yeah. But
so that's one time where bear and bear could be spelled the same, but could be used differently.
Mm-hmm.
So let me ask you a question then, so you can educate me. What's the difference between homophone and homophobe?
Homophobe means that you have fear of same-sex people and/or relationships.
Right, because
so
phobia is fear.
Right, and so
now what about homophone?
Homophone sound.
Right.
Homo means same.
Right. So it's a connection to that last piece of that word.
Right.
Like phobia, it means to be scared or fearful of something.
So it means the same thing.
No, it's a part of speech. It's
hey man, can I say this to y'all, man?
What, bro?
Y'all done got real deep.
It's Friday.
I thought you was gonna say we terrible teachers because we trying to explain this.
Yeah, because I'm not catching on. And then guess what? That's how I usually bag off because I'm asking you what the meaning of the two. You gave me the meaning of one, but what about the other one?
Well, you also you just confirmed the second point that when people are stuck on what they're stuck on, no matter what we give in terms of fact, they're still stuck on what they're stuck on. And I'm assuming that you have a problem with phones having, like two phones being attracted to each other.
Yeah, we was being facetious.
Stop it, man. Stop it.
That's why I said, my phone ain't gay.
Right. Now I see the joke. Okay, gotcha. Okay.
Two phones that are attracted to each other. No, that's not what it is. It's simple. It's like speech, man. Appreciate you.
Right. Okay, yes.
All right. Caller, welcome to the program.
Oh, we lost him. 414-444-5250. Phone lines are open. 414-444-5250. And as always, we got to give a shout out to everyone that's listening on Facebook Live and YouTube. Thank you for joining the conversation.
Zebra said, "You guys leave way too many banana peels on the floor."
I don't know what they mean by that. Well, we were supposed to keep at it. Oh, so, yeah, I get that now. I mean, I don't know. Sometimes when you join the conversation a little late, you miss something.
I didn't even know they had this movement out there. Was it Straight Rights Matter? I didn't even know that group existed.
No, he said he creating it.
Is that what he's creating?
Yeah, he creating it. That's why I said context matters. Didn't I say that earlier? Context matters. We just can't just get to saying anything. You know what I'm saying? Context matters.
Oh man! Oh god! I gotta love black people.
Nah, he was about to really go on something because he said we about to get on this religion thing. Whoa, we don't know what you talking about. We ain't talking about that. Context matters. He heard gay and must have
no, he heard homo.
Well, yeah, and contributed that to religion.
Right. Which but it also says something, and here's another teaching moment on community voice. Certain things can trigger certain responses and reactions.
Right.
Certain words. Like you hear what you hear. So, one of the things we'd always talk about was, and I had this conversation yesterday with Mr. Randy Bryant about thespians.
Yeah. No, it's funny. I can't remember the joke, but on Martin, remember he was the ghetto Romeo and Juliet did the play. And then the dude was like, I'm a thespian. And he was like, bro, you better back up with that. He don't even know what thespian mean, but it kind of sounds
like,
yeah.
And so all you heard was, and that's what we do, because we do all this intellectual shorthand. That's how we get through the world. Like we put it on. Hey, is there something in my Rolodex that's attached to that? Caller, welcome to the program.
You could actually read a sentence that don't read exactly how you think it is, but because, like you said, we just do it shorthandedly, we think it says something that it really don't.
Caller, welcome to the program.
Good morning.
How you brothers doing? All right. How you brothers doing?
All right.
All right. Blessings to all those that hear me. What's going on? Hey, I wanted to, since it's a free-flow Friday, I wanted to flow back to it. Last week, Friday, I didn't get the reply to a statement you had made, Mr. Parris. You made a statement replying to the young man that stabbed the white boy, and you said in your statement that he shouldn't have been there. That he shouldn't have been there, wasn't supposed to be where you're not supposed to be. And I was like, that's stuff I heard when I was in the 60s coming up in school. And I was like, that is wrong to be telling any young man that or your son that. But then I remembered you didn't have a son. So me as a father, I would never tell my son he don't belong anywhere. You're not wanted in certain places. That's the thing you're supposed to say, not that he don't belong. You are not wanted, especially when you are less than others in the color of numbers. So anytime, me raising in the 60s, as you, Mr. Parris, you should know that we were always told never to be with them while they're drinking, never to be with them if there's less than 3 of you, never to be with them alone. And now you know that you're not supposed to go with them into private little drinking parties. No. We were taught that when I first got my scholarship to go to college. And you know that our parents and our elders.
But Dino, that can't be real absolute.
Let me finish.
But that can't be absolute, because as a man, I can't be in a women's bathroom. I'm not allowed in a women's bathroom.
You hung up on me when I was talking about mothers, and you're being disrespectful.
I'm not being disrespectful.
No passes given. I don't want to pass. I want respect to hear to say what I want to say. You're supposed to respect.
But when are you gonna stop?
All right, brother.
Let me say what I said, and just so we're clear. When they asked him to leave or told him to leave, that's all I'm saying. Now, whether you felt like they should have done it or not, that's not. I'm just saying that then that becomes does that justify anything? No, but I'm just saying it's a factor. My understanding was that every team that was competing, and I could be wrong, had their own tent, right? So I'm just saying once they asked him, and you could get into the humanity of that, but then it's like the argument that they're making on the side of the young man who was killed was he was asked to leave and he didn't leave.
And that wasn't.
And I'm not justifying it. I'm just saying that that's one of those pieces that people need to appreciate. Now, we can get into it's raining. You should allow to be in there, sportsmanship. I got all of that.
I mean, we already argued that.
So that's the only point.
But the only thing I was asking Dino was that can't really be absolute, saying that you're not allowed or telling anyone that you shouldn't tell somebody that they're not allowed in certain spaces, because that's not true. You know, like, I'm not allowed in the women's bathroom.
Well, here's
I'm
the
a
other piece
man.
of it.
You know
there
what
were
I mean?
places
So there
that we
are,
weren't allowed to be in, and those people who were courageous enough to go into that space had to deal with the consequences
but we not
of going into that space.
but
So
we not just gonna slice it up as something that can be prescribed as something goofy. All right, we understand that, you know, us not being welcomed is a big difference from not being allowed. And there are certain places where we aren't allowed. Like, and to not tell people that, oh, you're always allowed everywhere, that's just not true.
Right. All right. You're listening to Community Voice. We're going to take a break. And when we get back, we'll be inside the Protégé's perspective. We'll be right back. All right, welcome back. Carl, I want you to be a little bit patient with us. And now it's time for the Protégé's perspective.
Oftentimes, young people from various generations have started and stated that they would not be like the adults in their respective childhood and adolescent years. The dare to be different would escalate to swear to be different. To resemble the older generation feels like an insult and a slap in the face to what's cool and to what gives credence to the culture. Too mean, too many rules, too many people having something to say. The only thing that was exciting about the present time adults is that one day you would be one too, but you'd shun at the notion that you would be like them. Your childhood and adolescent beliefs would lead you to think that there will be no hiccups along the road to adulthood because you had it all figured out. Adulthood came quicker than you'd expect, and the loosened stance on rules, accountability, and freedom were also stiffened as well. As time passed, you began reciting and recalling what was echoed to you from adults when you were a child. The very words that went through one ear and out the other have now been tattooed in your heart and mind. Ways that you once spoke and acted are now in the past, and in some cases, the distant past. Views on the youth, society, and world have shifted, and your position on the totem pole has lifted. In reflection of this newfound perception, it caused me to ask this one question. Did you go wiser, or did you become a hypocrite? That's it, man. Did you grow wiser, or did you become a hypocrite?
No, we look like the church musicians, like we all over here, and then the pastor finished quicker than you expected. They go, oh.
No, I just want to, and then just because I'm going back and forth with a few people in the chat right now. One, we didn't hang up on Dino. Dino hung up on his own. All I was doing was asking a question when it came to him saying that, you know, you should never tell somebody that they aren't allowed in certain spaces. And I asked, well, that can't be absolute, right? Because it's not absolute. There are places where we are not allowed, lawfully not allowed. Now, when it comes to being welcomed in some spaces, yeah, you know, we are definitely allowed to be in spaces that we aren't welcome. But as I stated earlier, and this is the most easiest example that I can just put out there, I am not allowed to be in a woman's bathroom. That's law. So for me to say that I should never tell my child or another individual that they are allowed in certain spaces just isn't true, you know, and it's not reality. And as far as you know, letting people go on and on, we were attempting to have a productive dialogue, which means that one person has the ability to ask questions. There are many times when the callers call and you ask Jermaine question in the middle of him making a point. You ask Keith questions in the middle of him making points, and you ask myself questions in the middle of making points. That's not a not trying to let you finish or whatever. It's just a question that you have. So all of the being sensitive and stuff, just be cool. It's a beautiful day outside, even though the smoke is out there, and
Conspiracy.
it will be all right.
Caller, welcome to the program.
Good morning, you're on there.
What's going on, brother?
All right, and yourself?
I'm all right. Man, once you hear homophobe, he just stays on it, man. He don't listen to nothing else. As soon as you said that, I knew he was gonna call right away.
That's
like,
funny.
I knew he was gonna call. I'm like, he about to call too. They're talking about. I knew he couldn't wait. He just be hard headed about that word. But they don't even say Bobby Porter's right. Talking about let's go Bobby Porter. You know how you say it,
Yeah,
man.
right. We say Bobby.
Yeah, Bobby.
That's why
Right.
they wearing
Come on,
number
man.
95, because it ain't
Yeah,
the real Bobby
yeah, but-
Porters down there.
It's the way how they say it. I'm like, who are they telling? That ain't how you say it. Giannis talking about he looks comfortable. He didn't look comfortable at all.
At all, man. Giannis looked like he
Well,
was
LeBron didn't look
sad.
comfortable neither at first.
No,
They'll get there.
but I'm saying, but this is a totally whole different
Oh yeah.
ambiance,
Culture
man.
shit.
Yeah, and he was just,
But remember, it happened with LeBron too.
I know, but what I'm saying, like, if you watch,
It didn't look natural. It didn't look natural.
It didn't look, bro. His whole body reaction was like,
Same thing as LeBron. They gonna get used to it.
I think you know what? I think Miami as a city is gonna be too much for Giannis as a city.
And it's a different kind. It's a different fan base.
Yeah.
It's a real.
Yeah, that's what I
fan
said.
base.
That's what I said. The city and the ambiance might be a little too much for him.
Yeah.
He's a humble kind of guy. I think that's gonna be a little too fast for him.
And I think for Milwaukee, Giannis is, the crusher and
Yeah.
the funds and Bobby, and that's one of the questions we had one of the notes is, anybody remember Willie Adames?
Yeah.
Do you know
I just-
all those Brewer broadcasts last year, we never heard his name.
Right.
And here's the point I'm making. He wasn't missed. So my question was, will it be the same with Giannis?
No,
Why not?
no,
because
Giannis is
the
gonna be
Brewers have proved to still be good.
Yeah, they've been good.
The Bucks,
So what if the
even
Bucks
if
turn
the
out to be
Bucks
good?
are good,
But no, wait.
you gonna miss a superstar. Willie Adames wasn't no superstar.
Oh yeah,
I still think that they're proving. I think they're already thinking the Bucks not gonna be good because they done went to Channel 24.
No, that ain't why.
But hold
Now, back in the day,
on. But let me
it was
ask. But you bring up the point I'm making. Let's say that the Bucks exceed expectations next year,
which I think they will.
and they're good.
Yeah.
Will
I
Giannis be?
bet you the bet
Well, no, hold
will
on.
Giannis what?
Will Giannis be missed?
Yes.
He's a
If
superstar.
I'm just saying they're good. They're
No,
really
no.
good.
Willie Adames wasn't a superstar.
Willie Adames was the best
He was
player on the
not
team.
a
But he wasn't.
superstar.
He was
Wait,
the best
wait.
player
He
on the
was not-
team.
He wasn't better than
Keith,
Christian
He
Yelich.
was. That's why he went to San
No,
Francisco. The
Keith,
Bruins couldn't
Keith.
afford to pay him.
No,
Because we already
Just 'cause they
paid
couldn't
Christian
afford
Yelich
to pay him.
$200 million.
that
Yeah,
don't
well, that's a
mean
waste
that
of
he
money.
was a superstar.
Yeah, but
Christian Yelich was a
listen, all the superstars that the Brewers bring up and they go to the next team, they become basura. They
No,
become
but
garbage.
the question, the
Willie
point,
Adames ain't no MVP.
the point that people
He's
were
a
making
star, but not
was
awesome.
was
He's not
that
even a star.
that the team
He's a
was
good
so
player.
much better.
No, he's a star.
I'm not saying they were better after him, but I was saying, and it wasn't until I was watching the broadcast like late August, and the guy said something. He said, we have not brought Willie Adames up once. And I'm asking, can the same thing happen when it comes to Giannis, where the Bucks are so successful? And again, this is a hypothetical. The Bucks are so successful.
No.
People going, okay.
Well,
okay, how about this one? How How many games will the Bucks play against Miami this year?
Probably
Four.
Between 4 to 6.
I was going to say 6, and them games going to be sold out.
But you know why? Not because of Giannis coming home.
What?
You want to get right? Come on, no.
Can I finish? Can I make the point before you jump?
Yeah, because I showed jump.
Can I make the point?
We all jump.
That first game, yes, Giannis. But that first game is also to boo Bam. See that little back drama that's happening right now?
Tyler,
Yeah, I'm saying that, and no, if you go in the chat rooms, that's what people are saying already. They're looking forward to that. So it's also gonna be Giannis coming home
about that, man,
and Bobby
coming home. But I'm telling you, but they're really because they realize that. Look, they're mad that Bobby and Giannis are gone. So now we have an opportunity to vent that anger. Thank you, Bam. Because he beat up poor little Tyler.
And then,
Tyler should have kept his mouth closed too, as well.
What's up with all of this having a burner account? That's soft to me.
Yeah, because
if I'm gonna say it, I'm gonna say it. I don't need no burner account.
Because they don't want the NBA to fine them for saying what they got to say.
Yeah, but they still find out who the person is, though.
Yeah, but I guess they don't say it on the actual account, I guess.
But did you see what Pat Riley said?
He don't want to get punched. Like he doing too much.
No. He trying to get
Pat Riley on something because Pat Riley thought he was going to go toe to toe with Shaq.
Well, he won that because he traded Shaq.
Yeah. But I remember, Alfonso got in the middle of him and said, Shaq, you don't want to do it. Shaq would have killed. He would have killed Pat Riley.
And it was all because he was going to send Jay Williams home because he played for practice.
Jason Williams, yeah.
So I'm just saying it's going to be interesting when he does play that first game. I think it's going to be. But thank you, because now we have the drama on top of the drama, right? We're dealing with the post-trade, but now we got this whole drama between Bam and Tyler.
Well, I'm going to say
we still in our feelings.
If Giannis would have just signed the extension, and they could have built the team with the draft pick that they have, picking Brewers and pairing him with Giannis, I think we would have been straight. But
they wouldn't have those draft picks though.
No, they would have had number 10. They wouldn't have had 13, but they still would have had 10.
And look, I got a chance to see both these guys play. They're not going to have the immediate impact.
Who ain't?
Oh no,
they're not going to have the immediate impact. If you're talking about just
winning, I'll call you back. All
right, man. I think they'll contribute as they get there because there's still some things they need to grow into NBA bodies. There's some already built, but there's some people out there though, right out that's just like they ready to go. And I know I use this is a very extreme example, but Ja Morant was ready to go.
What's the name?
The guard is ready to go, but but we just got a guard heavy team. Like I don't know what they're gonna do. They're gonna have to do.
And that's
something.
my point in terms of.
But I'm gonna answer a question for George real quick because George didn't know why Tyler Herro got into that scuffle with Bam. So these players they soft to me. Like they're not really that much younger than me, but they don't come from the school that I come. I'm old school, man. If I'm gonna say it, I'm gonna say it.
Basketball players, when it comes to fighting, the NBA fights.
So Tyler Herro has this, and mind you, the internet is always undefeated. They always gonna find out some shenanigans or whatever. It's just what people who ain't got nothing to do is what they do. Yeah. So they ended up discovering that Tyler Herro has a burner account. And he was making certain comments about certain players. Now, in the comments, he never directly named Bam, but people asserted that those comments was about Bam. And
his initials.
And the comment was that, a defensive stopper that is getting scored on consistently shouldn't be getting paid $60 million a year. And a lot of people asserted that to Bam. Now, Giannis gets scored on a lot too. And then when you do those whole analytic numbers or whatever, Giannis and Bam are both in those bottom tiers as far as people scoring on them.
Yeah, but Giannis is not a defensive liability though.
Yeah.
On the ball, he is, but he's a better help defender than he is an on ball defender.
On the ball, because even when they get a step ahead of him, he's right there to,
can make it
to
up
block
to
the shot behind.
But how many blocks is that though? It's not like he averaged 10 blocks a game. No,
but he averaged about 2.
No, he don't.
But I think when they talk about shutdown is that person ain't getting around you, right? That person's gonna be in front of you. You're gonna shut them down. It took me back. I was thinking about Kawhi Leonard when he was a rookie, San Antonio, right? And they played Miami. And the first couple of games he was out there, he was rolling. And they said, okay, not a problem. They put LeBron on him. Nothing.
Let's get to some serious stuff.
And then hold on, let me finish. And then that same series, y'all remember Danny? Was it
Danny Manny?
No, Danny Green. Is that Danny Green?
Danny Green.
He was killing Miami. Said we got to do something. What they do?
San Antonio?
Yeah. And what they do? They put LeBron on him. Because early on, man, LeBron he could shut down. And I'm just saying, so yeah.
But that's an easier cover.
But see,
LeBron
I'm like this. I'm from the Jim Brown school. You don't pay me to be your shutdown defender.
Right. I'm not from that school.
I'm from that school. You don't pay Jim Brown to block. I'm sorry. That's why Mr. Brown was on the Cleveland Browns. So
Jim Brown better block them defenders, or he won't be getting the ball.
Oh yeah. Okay.
When that quarterback gets smacked.
All right, you won't be coaching long. No, I mean, come on, man. I'm with Jordan rules. Now the fact that Jordan played defense, I think that was a bonus. But if he didn't, I didn't care.
In that era, you had to play defense, man.
Ooh. I'm not. It's kind of like they were scoring a lot of points.
They were scoring a lot of points.
Other than that period when Detroit was at the apex, because their whole thing
late
was
70s, early 80s. They were scoring a lot of points, but mid 80s into the 90s, it was the pace was real slow.
And people hated that because people come to an NBA game to see points scored.
I go for good basketball, man.
Okay.
I ain't with all of that.
All right. We're getting ready to have a Joe. What is it? Who's my guy? Ingles?
Oh, Joe Ingles?
Yeah. No. Ingles, the greatest inbound passer of all time.
Joe Ingles.
No. Yeah. They all of them better than him.
Boy, oh boy. Did you see that back pick? Called That's what we go to an NBA game for, to see the back picks.
We got breaking news.
Uh-oh.
Sarah Rodriguez dropped off the race. That's the serious stuff that we got to talk about. Because
now, didn't old boy just endorse her?
And I was appalled that she was endorsed by him just off of her comments on DEI alone.
Because didn't she get at him prior to that?
Yeah, for the same stuff. She said that it was poor mismanagement. Oh. You know what I'm saying?
So what she do?
But she ain't say no poor mismanagement though. And here's the thing: you've been a manager, I'm a manager. There are things that people do,
right?
And I mean,
me and Rhonda was having this conversation yesterday. You know that's saying? Your job.
But to know what's going on.
That's your job.
But it falls on you whenever it comes down to it. But
let's pick it up when we get back.
I didn't even know that she was a lieutenant governor until a couple years ago.
You're listening to Community Voice. We're going to take a quick break. We'll be right back.
DJ the Protégé.
Well, because we're breaking news here, Sarah Rodriguez has dropped out of the governor's race in the state of Wisconsin. We were going... Okay.
I tried to hold it, bro, but you did. If you didn't do that, I would have held it in, man. But
okay,
this is live radio, right?
But my question was, I had noticed or I had seen an ad that a group that's probably aligned with Tom Tiffany was running against it's a Francesca Hong. Mm-hmm. And my question was, why aren't the Dems running ads right now against Tom Tiffany? This has really complicated the race because now I think it's down to Francesca Hahn, Mandela Barnes, and Mr. Brennan.
And Kelda.
Oh, Kelda Roy.
Yeah.
Who did a very nice commercial. I guess she's a nurse.
I liked her interview with Michelle.
Yeah, she did a very nice commercial. So,
I'm up in the air with all of these candidates. Like I said, I don't know how the county executive could have supported Sarah Rodriguez. Lucy got some explaining to do.
You know what, man? But
I'm only reason that it didn't sit well with me is because this is an individual who basically called you out, one, and then two, like I said earlier, she shot down certain policies that one he was big on implementing in Milwaukee County, with DEI. And so to endorse her in the name of, they're ahead in the polls or seem to be ahead in the polls.
Because it's about winning, and you can be about your strongly held principles you never move from. Some of these things, the fact that, and I'm gonna say this, and y'all run with it the way you want to run with it. Just because I might de-emphasize saying DEI doesn't mean I'm not supportive of it. If I'm trying to win, and I realize that using that will resonate with some people that I need their votes, either I'm going to downplay it, I'm not going to mention it unless somebody brings it up.
But the people who are against DEI were people who wasn't going to get your votes anyway.
I want you to listen to what I'm saying. It could be that there's some people you think you can move. That's a political calculation. People are making political calculations. We do it from our principles. We're doing it from our principles because we're not running. But I can sit up and tell you that, and I go across the board because I will sit up and analyze your message. And if you're out, okay, Obama. There were things that Obama believed in. Obama didn't get out and talk about those things because those things could be used.
So are you telling me that politicians don't have any principles?
No. If you heard what I started off with, I said your strongly held principles you hold on to. But these things are also political matters because you're trying to appeal to a voter. This is not me as a preacher trying to convert you. This is people trying to win a vote. And so when people get out, and yes, you'd be surprised when people will tell you privately what they support and what they will come out and say.
Well, public endorsement is big though, because we do it all the time. We support people silently.
Right, but I'm saying
but when you go out and speak to the masses, it means more.
And on paper, and look, they can go back and forth. On paper, they might have a different, because at that point, and that's point in time, and that's the thing about politics, is always point in time. That she had strong momentum, right? It looked like from her internal polling, other polling, that she was either one or two. And so, he makes that decision. It is, I don't know. Now, some people are going, I don't know why he did it, because they might, and I'm not saying you, they might not like her. Okay, I got all of that. But what I'm saying is these calculations are more thought of, and people, sometimes it is what it appears to be. Sometimes it's some other things that we just don't know. There were people who, and I know Keon and Michelle were really going at me because I was like, clear the field. You trying to beat Ron Johnson. But because people might have had some issue with Mandela, then they're going, why would you do it?
But the fear,
if it could have been somebody else and you say clear the field.
But that was going to happen anyway, because somebody was eventually going to win.
Yeah, but the point was, why are you spending time where it was obvious he was going to be the eventual winner?
I don't know if it was obvious.
It was pretty obvious based on the numbers he was going to be the.
A lot of people liked Lazary.
They did, but not to the point that people liked Mandela. And look, whether people have a personal issue, and that always amazes me, Mandela lost by 1 point. Mandela didn't get killed.
Right.
I think they missed this point. He lost by 1 point, and a lot of it was people who decided not to go vote at all. And that was the difference.
And whose fault was that?
It's not a fault.
It is a fault.
It's not
This
fault.
is a competition. When you lose, there has to be something that I could have improved on.
What I'm saying is that based on
I didn't do
based
X,
on
Y, and
1%.
yeah.
Okay, if you set up
1% is manageable. Now, if he lost by 20% or 10%, maybe you say, oh, it was nothing that he could.
No. Then I'm going to say, what did he do? What I'm saying is that when people, and see, that's the thing about when we get into our lenses, right? Because what I've found out, and I've certainly found this out in politics, skin don't make kin.
Right.
And if people feel very strongly about something, they're not going to look at the bigger picture. In my mind, the bigger picture was getting rid of Ron Johnson. That was the bigger picture for me. For other people, it wasn't so much the bigger picture. We'll live with that. But this dude lost by 1 percentage point.
So
so what I'm saying is that it could have been the margin of victory. Let me say something else, because I lived through this. I used to hear Mandela wasn't in the community. My job was to be in the community. And I can tell you that most events that were large community events, Mandela Barnes was there. So I mean,
that's an age-old saying that people always say.
No,
my
perception becomes people's reality.
My thing is that, and mind you, a lot of those comments come from people who don't be in the community themselves. But let's go back to the 1% thing, and then we're gonna hit the caller. Thank you for your patience. Wait. If you lose, let's just say a football game or a basketball game or any sports event, you lose that game by 1 or 2 points, you do say, oh man, if I would have done this, or if I could have done that, man, if I didn't make that turnover, then potentially you could have won.
I agree.
Why are we not, why are you not taking that same perspective when it comes to politics, and when it comes to the 1%, I lost by 1% or 2%?
Well, let's look at it in the bigger context, right? Because as I remember, I'm trying to think, this was 2020?
Mm-hmm.
Okay. What happened? Donald Trump won. No, he lost. 2020.
Right.
I think that there were some other things going on. We had a very contentious mayor's race.
And governor's race.
Yeah, but I'm saying, the mayor's race in the city, there was a lot going on. All I'm saying is
maybe it was a year or two after that then.
Yeah, all I'm saying is that when you look at that and people go, obviously there were things that he did wrong. Nobody's not arguing that. But there were also some things that was outside of his control. And those things will line up.
If it's 1%, I think that's more on the candidate versus
it's always on the candidate.
Those outside.
It's on the candidate, whether it's 15% or 1%. All I'm saying is that the fact that he was able to do. Now, look, there's a lot of stuff going on behind the scenes. The money that was supporting Mandela Barnes was not traditional Democratic money. So you got that going on. There were people who definitely had some political things going on. And I'm not going to call the person's name, but they had a conversation with me. And they said, you know what? And they told me that they had this regret because they said that they had let their personal thing get so to the point that maybe something else happened that it wasn't their intent to see happen. I think that sometimes, so all I'm saying is that when you, it's a tough one, man. And look, it ain't, don't. And then, because I'd sit up and say there was things about Obama, right?
Right.
But then people were
he won though.
Yeah, because people, maybe some things that, because wasn't it, as I remember it, wasn't it when Obama first started, he wasn't black enough?
There's a whole lot of stuff.
For a whole lot of black people who originally were supporting Hillary Clinton, who were looking for all the reasons not to support Barack Obama, people that look like you and me. Come on, man. Caller, welcome to the program.
Good morning, you on there.
Good morning, fellas.
What's happening?
Two things, and then I had to apologize to Rideout. That's a bad boy.
Oh, man, appreciate you, man. Thank you, man.
When I came down Saturday, man, you should have closed.
Oh, thank you, man.
Ivan Singh is pretty cold. No disrespect to Mr. Rideout. I mean, you could have did either one of them.
Is that the one that in the past couple years it rained on him?
Yeah.
No.
Okay.
That's the other brother. He
So
just got here, Jemiah.
So that's the first thing I just want to get out the way. Give you your flowers right out your bad
You had a
boy.
whole lot of haters coming down there, man.
Thank you,
I
man.
was sitting in the tent watching them come by, looking at you. Look like the haters are coming out.
And the second thing, DJ, politics makes strange bedfellows.
Yes, sir.
And so where I made my mistake, I put my ballot in already. As soon as I got it. How do you do that?
Call the city commission. If you voted for somebody who wasn't on the ballot, who currently, I think you can call. Michelle talked about how you can have your ballot spoiled.
For Crowley, and I sent it in right away. And
Yeah,
then 2 days later, he done
call the
dropped out
election
the race.
commission and tell them what happened. And because he's suspended his campaign, you can have that ballot spoiled. Yeah.
So here's the thing I wanted to say. It's funny our life travels and how things can come back, and we get a chance to correct it. So all that stuff about he didn't do this, he didn't come in the community, he didn't pass no bills, all that other stuff, we got to put that stuff to rest. Keith is right. Our objective should have been to get Ron Johnson out. We have a second chance to do this, because if this white guy gets in to be governor, it's all over. So I don't know if y'all seen any of the ads he's running already, and he's in attack mode with this gay stuff and all this other stuff. He is and you better believe, I'm going to be careful because I know it's Friday. So let me think how to call him the Orange Man. It's going to be supporting this guy.
Right.
He's already raised $9 million. And the closest Democrat, I think they said, got $800,000 in their coffers. And so we got to put all that to the side, all that hate against Mandela Barnes. We got to get behind him, because out of the three, that's who's going to end up being, that's going to go up against this guy. Don't fool yourself. Keith likes to say name recognition. He's got that. So
Hung got a lot of momentum right now.
Yeah.
No.
Yes,
no.
she does.
I'm not saying no, Keith. I'm not saying no that. I'm not saying no to that. I'm saying no. We got to get behind that. I'm not saying she doesn't have the momentum, but we got to get behind Mandela Barnes. At the end of the day, she will not beat this white boy. If any chance that
he's going to have a tough time. And part of that is because this has been such a protracted primary for the Democrats, he's been able to have this airtime out there where he's crafting a message and an image, and the Democrats are still trying to figure out who their candidate's going to be. You're not going to see now, once it's been determined who the candidate is going to be, that's when the money rolls in. But you don't want to put a whole lot of money if you're these political action committees now in a race. That the question I was asking is, why aren't they running ads against him regardless of who the Democratic nominee is? Because right now he's the one out there who's able to shape it. We get a chance to meet his family. I mean, all these different things, and nobody's focusing on his policies and the things he's voted for since he's been in Congress.
Voted again.
Keith, I will agree with you that that's what they should be doing. But at the end of the day, okay, if it ain't Mandela, it could be her. But who's ever there at the end of the day, let me back up a little bit. Who's ever there at the end of the day, that's who we got to get behind and support.
Okay.
We cannot let a Republican get in and be the governor. It's wrapped if we do. We will. Y'all think things is bad with him in the White House? Wisconsin is going to be done. Thanks, guys.
All right. Caller, welcome to the program.
Good morning. You're on air.
Good morning.
You let me in. I want to say amen to the last caller when he was saying that Dr. Rideout should have closed the show. He was the number one, and I was there in person, and I let him know it.
Man,
Another thing that I told Rideout, I'm going to tell DJ today, when don't go into meechism where you drown out the other party. Today, Reverend What's his name?
Keith.
The Reverend Keith had some good punch, and the DJ didn't let him finish his punch. Let him make his punch before you make your punch. And y'all have a good
He
one.
never let me talk on my program. Carla, welcome to the program.
Keith don't know what he's talking about.
See, no respect.
Hello?
Good
Good
morning.
morning, you on there?
Keith, am I gonna have time to get my ballots in the mail? It ain't came yet to vote.
You
When
gotta
do you-
call up there.
Yeah, did you go to my vote to see if they sent one out?
Yeah.
Okay, go to my vote.
For my mom, but this particular time my mom got it and my grandmother never came, and so my mom called up there and they went through her voting rolls and they showed that my grandmother had voted, you know, every single year, and then the individual had my mom requested online, as well as they had them send it through the mail, and my mom received it within a day or two. So call up there would be better, so you can speak with somebody, and then you will get your ballot.
All right. Yeah, because the address request changed in about a month, so I'm in there as just under this new address.
Okay, well,
And
just
then
call them.
Because I heard you say you had got your mail-in ballot a while back, and then I'm like, wow, that's kind of. But when is the last day for the early voting?
Oh,
August
man, I
11th.
don't know. Yeah, I'm thinking.
I think it's August
or the
11th.
10th. That's Sunday.
The 10th.
And thank you
Yeah.
for that. Hold on, Solis.
right.
Yeah, we got some new breaking news.
Before we break the news, and
Okay.
right, that I think it will add confusion. Here's my problem with wanting not to come out and say that. He has not definitely said that's what he's going to
No,
do.
he said he consider it.
Right, and
We can still say that.
okay, well, let's just be very clear. We just got something where County Executive David Crowley is reconsidering re-entering the race. Reconsidering. I think that's important. I don't want to come out and announce that's what he's going to do, because no definitive announcement is coming out. A lot of this is happening in real time. Sarah Rodriguez.
She is currently the lieutenant governor, correct?
That's correct.
And will no longer be the lieutenant governor after this.
So she retains that job.
No.
Oh yeah, yeah. Until
until
the end of
November.
term. Yeah.
Well, next year, really.
Right.
But she could effectively keep the job, couldn't she?
She's
Not
still,
until after this election, though.
Right.
Because we already have individual. You remember, Will is running for lieutenant governor. Sarah
That's why I'm
Gailuski.
asking, what does that mean for?
That means she gonna be gone after this election.
Right. If she's not elected governor, then it doesn't look like
She
will
just
be.
dropped out. So
Right. So then at the end of the term, she will no longer be lieutenant governor. So y'all just stay tuned. Just kind of watch. You can go in and
A lot of moving pieces.
a lot of moving pieces. Breaking news on Friday.
That's good.
But I just want to be careful, because you get out and you'll say this, and then people will kind of run with it. So I don't want to. It's already confusing.
You're
that
not
Sarah
like
Rodriguez,
the dude in the White House. All right, you're very responsible.
Try to be.
With putting out
Try to
information.
be. But do you
All
know how many
right?
people I done killed? Dude, he ain't dead. Like, oh, Carla, welcome to the program.
Well, I just found out you were a killer, so you might want to keep that under wraps. Good morning, you're in there.
You know, I've never, well, I shouldn't say I've never, because I've seen this before. The sheer ignorance of people who don't like Mandela bonds for whatever reason. And I saw this manifest itself when Mandela ran against Ron Johnson. I've heard people who claim to be intelligent say that Mandela lost, he's a loser. He lost to Ron Johnson is arguably one of the most popular United States senators in the entire country. Mandela lost by 1 point.
Mm-hmm.
And when I hear people say, well, he still lost, it's just ridiculous, the ignorance that people want to espouse. And I'm hearing the same thing again, not coming from my generation. I'm 72 years old. It's the younger generation who has an issue of blood with Mandela bonds, and they don't even understand that whatever that issue is, They wound up with Ron Johnson. And maybe they don't know, maybe they weren't young enough, maybe they were too young to understand Scott Walker and his years, because that's what you are looking at. And if you're going to use that same ignorance that you got a personal gripe with Mandela Barnes, he's not in the community, neither is Tom Tiffany. And Tom Tiffany is not going to have any compassion whatsoever.
But you know what, Earl, you know what people tend to do, though, and I think this also hurt Mandela. It wasn't that people went and voted for Ron Johnson. People just didn't show up and vote.
I understand.
You know what I'm saying? And so but then that hurt Hillary Clinton, right? I mean, we can do it, and I don't, I don't know how comfortable.
You gotta earn those votes, and she didn't earn those votes.
And I appreciate all of that.
You can't continue to blame those voters, because I mean, remember earlier what I spoke about context. Remember in the 2016, Hillary nor did the guy that's in office right now won Wisconsin. Remember, Ted Cruz won, and then it was Bernie Sanders. But she neglected to come to Wisconsin, so she lost because of her own.
I'm saying it's a combination of things. It is the candidate, it is the electorate. Those things can line up. 22,000 people who voted in 2012 did not show up in 2016. Mm-hmm. That was the margin of victory for the current occupant of the White House. These things go in, and I hear you, and I'm agree with you. But then politics is also personal.
We can't leave out the electoral college, though. That just because she may have won the popular vote, she could have won the popular vote here and still not
had some people showed up to vote, because those people in Milwaukee, if they would have showed up, they would have voted Democratic.
Right. So to say that you can't blame the people is ridiculous.
I think it's a combination.
Well, I know you can say a combination.
It's a competition.
The people who chose not to vote, who did they hurt? They hurt themselves.
I disagree with that.
Because how can you say they wound up with Ron Johnson? How did they not hurt themselves?
So if I don't earn your vote, sir, that is my fault, because it is my duty to earn your vote. And if I didn't earn your vote, then I need to do or didn't do what was necessary in order to gain that vote. I can't blame them for not voting for me or you not voting for me.
Look, I said they hurt themselves. Okay.
And I think the Russian interference was
Republican policies.
I don't know about that either.
Yeah, I do. I think that you do just enough. Look, most voters are low information voters, right? And so they're going to take what they think, or they're single issue voters. This idea that some votes you can get out, work, you may or may not win. Mm-hmm. There was enough disinformation that was put out there. It was a margin. Again, 22,000 votes. It was just enough for them to margin. So all those things factor in. It's the candidate, it's the electorate, it's what's going on at the time. Ask Jane Byrne.
It's a big recipe.
It's a snowstorm, right?
It's a big stew.
And so Jane Byrne didn't become mayor because of a snowstorm. So all those things will factor in. Hey man, we gotta talk more, man. Is it? All right. Interesting program. Let me thank Clark Kent.
Breaking news.
Let me thank DJ. Thank
you.
Let me thank Rideout. Let me thank everybody. Let me thank the news gods.
Right.
Oh, and let me thank Mr. Debo. All right, doing his crack reporting, who came in and broke the news.
Mm-hmm.
All right.
So I just only did that because I heard somebody talking about spoiling their ballot. They may not want to do that yet.
Right. That's why it's important that you said that it's considering.
It's considering.
It's
right.
considering.
And it's going to be some number crunching on his staff to find out, in fact, because he still had a nice little piece of change in his campaign account. So, all right, chump. Good Lord willing, creek don't rise. Nobody go to jail. Hope to talk to everybody on Monday. And as always, go from this place in peace.